Morning at NTV. Have you read the Daily Monitor? Yes, 2,000 Uganda shillings only. You can be able to get all the wealth of information that has been put into this newspaper just for your day to be conquered or your week. You need to know how many times Katumba Wamala's car was shot, 56, and how come the bodyguard, that is Koboyoit Khalid the sergeant, actually wasn't harmed in this scuffle. So the Foster General alerted family early this year of danger to his life. He knew something of the sort was going to happen to him. And life and times of slain daughter Brenda. Yes, Nantongo Wamala. There is also that profile that has been highlighted within the Daily Monitor. Also, fleeing assailants shoot shopkeeper, head towards Bahai. It seems like they were just shooting indiscriminately, like what we saw during the November 18th to 20th protests when some unscrupulous individuals were on a police pickup truck and they were driving along Kampala Road shooting indiscriminately. They did not mind whether you were putting on a red t-shirt or whether or not you were involved in those protests that took center stage when Robert Chagulanyi was arrested on November 18th and 20th. You remember those protests that took center stage. The assailants were shooting people indiscriminately. And what we do know right now, out of the 54 people who were killed, only 11 were the rioters. The rest were innocent people, innocent bystanders who were just, minding their own business. So here we are. Even after they had shot at the general, killing Brendan Antongo and Haruna Kayondo, the driver, and injuring the general himself, they started shooting indiscriminately. A shopkeeper, yes, was also shot as they headed towards Bahai. So that's the latest we're getting here on Morning at NTV. If you want to get more of these details, please grab yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor. Only 2,000 Uganda shillings. You'll be able to get a hard copy like this one, or you can simply visit www.nationmedia.com/UG. You'll be able to get an easier e-version. So much has been highlighted on the cover page, and you can be able to be in the know. Who was Brenda Nantongo? If you want to find out, just grab yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor on page 3. And there's a lot that has been highlighted, how General Katumba Wamala survived death and so forth. Katumba told family about threats to his life. Kazimba condemns the attack on General Wamala. If you look at the Daily Monitor, it's almost about General Katumba Wamala. So if you hadn't gotten, all the details about this particular story, please grab yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor. June 3rd, fast forward, is tomorrow. And we are talking about the Uganda Martyrs Day. So we do not expect a little more than 200 people to be congregating at Namugongo. So if you are a pilgrim who was used to actually going to Namugongo in huge droves, this time round, just like last year, there won't be any people allowed more than 200 because of the COVID-19 disease and how it's rearing its very, very ugly head. So the commemorations will be only attended by 200 or so individuals within that jurisdiction. So to get more details on that, you can be able to grab yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor. They also contend that even though you proceed to Namugongo as a pilgrim, they'll entertain you, but then they'll have to let you go by 6 p.m. so that they stop the congestion that might take center stage within that jurisdiction. Police summon Monitor bosses over the November killing story. Police have summoned 2 top managers of Daily Monitor newspaper to record statements in light of a story published on Monday detailing new evidence on who could have shot suspected protesters on Kampala Road in November last year. Now, if they're calling the 2 managers of Daily Monitor, they should also call in some of the investigators at the BBC, because this was what we saw on Monday. The new evidence was also courtesy of the BBCI investigation. So you had the BBCI borrowing their investigations from the Monitor story from November last year. So they were actually adding on some new details, saying these people, the unscrupulous individuals who were on the police pickup truck, they were actually shooting indiscriminately. They did not mind whether or not you were a protester, and that's why out of the 54 people, we are now getting information that only 11 were rioters in that regard. So they've been summoned to actually find out more about this new information. Security arrests Moroto prison break planner. Remember the prison break in Moroto, where so many people escaped from that prison. The planner was actually arrested. Joint force of police and army personnel have arrested the alleged mastermind of the escape of inmates from Moroto prison last year. In September last year, 224 inmates escaped from Moroto prison after overpowering warders and accessing the armory, where they made off with 15 guns and 480 bullets. You remember this story very well. So Michael Ongole, the Karamoja Regional Police spokesperson, told Daily Monitor that the joint force has been trailing the suspect until yesterday when his hideout was discovered. His name is Michael Moore, who was on remand over various offenses. So if you want to get more details on this story, please grab yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor. It's actually juicy and salacious in that regard. Oulanyah is rallying MPs on the quality of debating. The Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, has urged the newly sworn-in members of Parliament to focus on the quality of debate, tailored on matters that will benefit the country as opposed to advancing personal interests. Now, this is a major point of contestation because you have many of these MPs being new, yes, coming into this 11th Parliament, yes, as new MPs. They do not have the experience. Many were voted based on emotions, according to Professor Ogenga Latigo. He says that many of these MPs were actually voted based on emotions. So when they get into Parliament, many of them might focus on personal interests or their emotions and so forth, and not fronting the national interest in that regard. So the quality of debate is something we should look out for. If they do not front the minimum wage conversation in this Parliament, then we shall be putting them to book. Well, government is sued over breach of construction contract. Get yourself a copy. No more firing squad of UPDF soldiers, says top officer. UPDF has said it will never carry out public firing squads for its soldiers. Uganda last carried out public firing execution of its soldiers 21 years ago. This was after two of their own confessed to have killed an Irish Catholic priest, Father Declan Otule, his driver, a passenger, in an ambush as they traveled on the Moroto-Kotido Road in 2002. Many details right here within the Daily Monitor. Kaihura's troubles and the good people of Chisoro. I did mention to you yesterday that the people of Chisoro want President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to forgive yes, the former inspector of police, that is General Kale Edward Kaihura. Well, Kale Kaihura did actually say that he is not a treasonous son of the country and he did not betray his family, and he wants President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to forgive him. Away from the Daily Monitor, you can grab and get all those details within the Daily Monitor at only 2,000 Uganda shillings. But I do have another great gentleman. His name is Chariton Namuwoza. He is the CEO of Nogamu. It is the National Organic Agriculture Movement of Uganda. They deal in natural organics. We are noting a rapid growth, yes, in demand for organic products like ginger, lemon, etc. compared to refined versions. We would like to know why. You've had someone say, I have a cough, I need lemon. They won't run to a health center to get some medicine. They'll get lemon, ginger, and so forth. So why is there too much demand for the same during this very rainy season? I have Chariton Namuwoza joining me on set to find out why. A very good morning, Chariton.
Very good morning, sir.
We are noting a rapid growth in demand for organic products like ginger, lemon, etc. Why are we seeing this?
First of all, before I respond to that question, permit me to convey my heartfelt, sympathies with the families of the General Katumba Wamala and that of his late driver for the unfortunate incident that happened yesterday.
Indeed.
And I'm attached to that family in a way because my wife went to school with one of his daughters, General Katumba's daughter.
That is Brenda, the deceased?
No, another one in the who is again based in the US.
Indeed.
And that's really unfortunate. To the rest of Ugandans, let's pray for ourselves because we are in difficult times.
Indeed.
But God being on our side, we shall overcome.
Speaking of difficult times, the COVID-19 pandemic is also here. It's rearing its very ugly head. Some people have chosen, if I'm grappling with a cold, I'd rather go for ginger, lemon, and so forth. Why are we seeing a rapid demand in such organic products?
Exactly. We'll talk about that and many other issues.
Indeed.
But to break the ice, first of all, we should look at what is happening globally in
we
the
start
markets.
we start with Nogamu and what you do.
All right, okay, yeah. The National Organic Agriculture Movement of Uganda, in short Nogamu, is the umbrella organization that brings together organic producers, processors, exporters, and all other actors who are involved in organic agriculture development in Uganda. We were founded in 2001. And we're making about, by the end of this year, we'll be making 20 years.
20 good solid years.
20 good solid years, nice. That's right. And there's a lot that has happened. Perhaps for the benefit of Ugandans, the organic sector started even before the founding of Nogam. And we see the first formal certified project in Uganda happening around 1993. And 10 years later, in 2003, we saw the export value of organic products rise from 0 to $7.5 million US. And over the years, it has risen to over 50 million US dollars. That's the latest, and we believe this will grow to about 100 million US dollars in the coming years, 3 years from now, because there is a lot happening. Now,
so organics are a major contributor to our GDP and so forth.
Exactly, and they will even be more important in the coming years.
Indeed.
Now, globally, when you look at the consumption trends, consumers are increasingly getting concerned about their health, about issues of the environment, and social responsibility. So what we've seen is that the demand globally has grown to surpass the 100 billion US dollar mark by the end of 2019, mostly because of these reasons. And the advantage that we have as Ugandans is that the kind of products that we are talking about are the ones that our traditional farmers grow. Traditional farming in Uganda is very close in many ways to organic farming. I grew up in a place where we, of course, grew different crops. You know, we grew coffee, we grew cotton, we grew, you know, multiple crops. And when you look at organic, there is biodiversity that is emphasized. So you can see that Ugandans are used to that kind of farming. And then the use of synthetic chemicals is very limited. Of course, now it's sort of happening in some areas, especially for horticultural crops like tomatoes. But the vast majority of Ugandans, you know, farmers do not apply synthetic chemicals. And that is what organic agriculture demands. So we are talking about products that are environmentally friendly. We are talking about products that meet the health needs of consumers, products that meet the social concerns. And that's why even COVID sort of, you know, makes it even more important, because you've seen that apart from, you know, the COVID measures, social distancing, putting on masks and all these things, they have emphasized nutrition, boosting immunity. And that's why products like ginger, you know, lemon, have all of a sudden, you know, become even more important. So it's important that Ugandans, you know, rise up and you respond to the call from the market, you know, what's happening in the market, the demand for healthy products, environmentally friendly products, nutritious products, and organic products meet, you know, these requirements.
How effective are these natural immunity boosters, Chariton?
Because you see, what happens is that
because I've interfaced with a few of my friends. One would grapple with a cough for maybe a week or two, and then you tell them, why don't you go to a hospital, a clinic, get some medication? Then they will tell you, I've been taking some lemon, I've been taking some ginger for the last 2 weeks. So I'm thinking, yes, if it's not working, I'll just maybe sit out and the lemon and ginger will continue working. It's still in the system.
It's interesting that we have testimonies from, you know, COVID patients, people that recovered from COVID. And one thing they make very clear is the fact that when you take lemon, of course in combination with other products, ginger, plus your meds, you know, zinc and others, the chances of surviving are high. Of course, if you're not, you know, having these other conditions like diabetes that, you know, make, again, life complicated. But the fact is that your body can fight diseases if it is strong, if the immunity is strong. And that's the essence of, you know, consuming nutritious products and those immune boosters. Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so exactly. So now, when you look at products like ginger, you know, and lemon, they have those components that obviously help the body to build the immunity that is required to fight those diseases. And not only these products, again, I think I made that point earlier, that when you talk about food in general, food that you know, from coffee to you know, these root tubers to fruits and vegetables, when they are organic and natural, meaning free from, you know, chemicals that are hazardous, chemicals that are dangerous not only to humans but also to other living organisms in the ecosystem, then organic products will be even more critical, because you are not you are not talking about a product that has a chemical that could worsen the situation, because what we've seen in the market is that when you consume a product that has a chemical component, and that's the concern of the consumers,
Yes.
you want to be sure that you live tomorrow and the other day without any disease. And chemicals have obviously posed a danger to our lives because they accelerate the development of some of these diseases like cancer, you know, and others that of course pose a risk for our lives.
Should we be expounding more research in this area of natural organics, maybe with the help of government, to just come up with our own vaccines or even medicines that could help go a long way in helping Africans in that regard, so that we are not always at the mercy of these first world countries, the COVAX facility and so forth, when we are hit by such diseases like COVID-19. I did hear the president say that he was going to empower scientists to actually go ahead and do more research in this area of natural organics. Even the scientific crew or the group of advisors in science that he instituted was saying that we were trying to do some kind of experiment on a natural organic kind of drug. Yes, that was going to be used to treat COVID-19 patients. I don't know how far they went with that as the Ministry of Health, but do you think this is something we could take on as a country to do our own research in natural organics?
That is a step in the right direction. And as a sector, I'll talk more about the organic sector. And of course, I'll touch a little bit about, you know, the health policies. But, you know, talking about the organic sector, we've engaged government for the last 16 years to put in place an appropriate regulatory environment to help accelerate or spur the growth of the organic sector. And research is one of those things that we've been talking about. So as of 2019, we got the approval of the government for the National Organic Agriculture Policy, and we had it launched last year. And again, very much in line with the, you know, recent developments, we see that this is a very, very big opportunity for the sector to grow, because as you might have heard, there's been a lot happening over the recent past, the last 3 years, you know, as government, you know, picks up on this and supports the sector. We've seen that, you know, there's now mushrooming, you know, factories that are, you know, processing all sorts of organic products, you know, from fruits and vegetables, you know, juices, you know, processed coffees, we're talking about spices, herbs and spices, all sorts of products. And research is very critical in helping to develop the kind of technologies that will put our sector, you know, at a more, you know, competitive level. And research at the production level, but also when it comes to now, you know, manufacturing, you know, medicines and natural boosters or, you know, food supplements and things like that that help, you know, boost the immunity is even more critical. So we think that an appropriate regulatory environment is critical in making this happen. And the same thing should happen in the health sector, you know, to support our scientists to invest in conducting research that is critical in developing, you know, these alternatives. Yes.
So, Chariton, how big is this level of demand? Are we producing enough organic products in this country of ours, Uganda?
Very good. Now, globally, as I said earlier, the demand has been growing at a rate of 10 to 15% annually for the last, you know, couple of years. And interestingly, Uganda is increasingly becoming an important actor on the global scene, because we now we are the second, you know, we are the country with the second highest number of certified farmers in the whole world.
Yes.
We only follow India, and India overtook us not so long ago, about 7 years ago, but we used to be on top. The reason is simple. It takes a much shorter time for Ugandan farmers to convert to organic farming. Because as I said, traditional farming is 80% close to organic farming. So all they need to do is put in place a traceability system, you know, an internal control system that helps them, you know, comply with the standards and acquire the certification. This is all that Ugandans need. And then, of course, to remind themselves of the practices that are critical in making their systems, very compliant with organic standards. So as the country with the second highest number of farmers, there's a lot of attention from the market. We get inquiries for different products, even those that we don't grow. I can assure you, every product that we grow here, from coffee to cocoa to vanilla, all these different spices, fruits and vegetables, have a high demand.
I'm envisioning a situation where Uganda is that one hub, that natural organic hub, whereby many other countries like the US, China, come to us to just learn from us, to learn from our practices, to learn from our farmers who are engaged in these practice of organics. Don't you think that we could be that natural organics hub of the whole world?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, of course, there are countries that have positioned themselves in the market already, like Zanzibar and others, India. But yes, we have a clear opportunity here. There is a study we conducted with the support of the Commonwealth Secretariat in 2013, where obviously the findings clearly demonstrated that herbs were some of the products that Uganda could use to position itself on the global scene, because the herbal products that we have here, herbs and spices, those that have successfully sold them in the different markets, North America, Europe, and of course the Far Eastern Asian countries, they have created a lot of excitement among the buyers and the consumers, and we haven't seen any project that has failed because there is no market for herbs and spices. So yes, I think it's one of the value chains that Uganda could focus on to position itself.
Indeed. So what more needs to be done, Cheriton, to meet the maybe regional, domestic and international market demand?
We see a clear trend in terms of increase in the production, at the farmer level. We see more and more farmers getting certified organic. But we need to up our game in terms of organizing our farmers, because we see, as you know, many of our farmers are smallholder farmers.
So value addition.
We need to bring them into groups, organize them into associations, cooperatives for that matter, and make sure that they produce according to a particular standard.
Oh, I understand. Most of them who are dealing in organics are doing it individually. So there is a plan to get them into clusters.
No, actually, the organic farmers are more organized than the rest of the farmers who are not, because the requirement for certification, especially if you're a smallholder, is that you should be in a group, and that's what we see. The certified farmers that we have in Uganda are mostly organized in groups, save for a few, large, if you like, commercial farmers that have 300 acres plus. But the majority, over 90%.
Subsistence also, they come together.
Yes.
Okay.
So we need to integrate more, because the vast majority of Ugandan farmers are working individually. So we need to organize them. The cooperative movement needs to take root, because if farmers are working individually, it becomes difficult, first of all, to train them to, in terms of complying with standards, but also it becomes costly.
Exchanging experiences and best practices.
Exactly. So that's the first step towards certification, what we call group certification. And now we're emphasizing both the second-party certification and the third-party certification.
I see.
Third-party certification is where an internationally accredited certification body sends their auditor to verify your system to see, to establish whether it complies with the standards or not. And the second-party certification, which we call the participatory guarantee system, basically involves stakeholder participation, where farmers themselves, working together with consumers or buyers and local authorities and community advisors, participate in peer review, verifying their systems, and it's very effective. We've seen that, helping a lot the farmers in Brazil, in India, which, by the way, is the reason why India is ahead of Uganda. So that's one other aspect that we need to emphasize, but it starts with organizing farmers, putting them into groups. And then once they get certified, the market is waiting. The market is ready, waiting. And as an organization, we've invested a lot in building, domestic, regional, and international marketing structures that guarantee, the flow of organic products from the point of production to the market.
Do such organic products actually alleviate some of the harmful complications of COVID-19?
Oh, yeah.
They do?
Yeah.
Expand more.
Now, we have had testimonies. Again, I should make this point.
Yes.
We've had testimonies from some of the COVID patients that have recovered, that when they consumed ginger, you know, together with lemon, you know, in warm water, and of course in combination with zinc. I mean, that helped a lot, and they recovered.
But then you
And
have a viewer who is watching
period.
Morning at NTV and is saying, Mr. Chariton just told us, India is the hub capital of the
Yes.
world when it comes to organics.
Yes.
But then they are grappling with some 28.3 million plus cases of COVID-19. The cases are rising. And it seems like even the vaccines are not actually working on the variant
Well,
that they are grappling with. So why aren't they using the same organics that we are touting right now to alleviate most of these challenges?
Yeah, the situation varies, and I believe when you go to India, you will find those Indians that consume some of those herbs, of course, in combination with other you know, other
Medicines and
medicines, you know, zinc and all the others that are recommended. I believe you'll find many that will testify,
especially in the rural areas.
Yes, that they have really, you know, recovered, mostly because they have, they've, you know, been consuming, you know, these products that are, you know, natural, you know, herbal products and all those that boost their immunity. I think the situation, the COVID situation is a difficult one, really. When you move from one country to another, the situations are different. And
information dissemination is really important.
Yes, as you had.
India could be a hub capital, but then you could have Indians within there who do not know that natural organics actually go a long way in alleviating the challenges.
Exactly, you know, the different cultures and all these things that you know, expose them to COVID, of course, should also be looked at. And when you look at Uganda, I think we did a lot in terms of sensitizing our people and, you know, making sure that we observe the COVID measures, which is why, by the way, when you look at the statistics, we've lost only about 300. Of course, it's unfair to say only because even a single life is very important. But in comparison with United States and of course all the other countries which have
people have
better you know, health systems, obviously you can say that we've scored fairly well in that area.
Let's focus, you know, on the citizen who's watching Morning at NTV back home. Why organics? Why should this matter to an ordinary Ugandan?
Because if you're a farmer, and this is the piece of advice I would like to share with fellow Ugandans, we have a country that is so blessed.
40 million acres of arable land.
Exactly. We have, you know, a lot of land that we can put to use. That is one factor. The second factor is the climate. We probably have the most conducive climate that allows all year round production. I was talking to a client that is going to invest in, you know, organic farming around Lake Victoria in Buyukwe. He's got over 100 acres, and he's so passionate about it. And again, his passion comes from the market, you know, what he has had.
The demand.
Exactly,
from
the demand.
Yes.
And that is the biggest motivation for that. So if you're a farmer and you're sure that you want to continue, you know, in the farming business, you should position yourself along value chains that are market driven or that are even market driving. Because when you look at the trends, the consumption trends, more and more consumers are gravitating towards healthy, environmentally friendly products, you know, socially responsible products. And that is the reason why the organic demand has grown. And so that is where you should put your money as a farmer. That's where you should spend your time as a farmer. And that, coupled with the fact that, you know, the climate is conducive, the farmers are used to, you know, what we call organic farming or organic by default, and it takes a much shorter time to convert organic farming in Uganda, then that is I mean, that's the more reason we should go organic.
Indeed, we did mention that we have very, very great arable land, 40 million acres of arable land. But guess what? We are only using 18 million.
That's right.
Tilling 18 million of that same land. In your own opinion, why do you think not so many people are actually entering this agriculture vis-a-vis organic farming, if you will?
I think one of the reasons is that Ugandans do not have access to information. And by the way,
access to information or access to land?
well, because who owns this land? That's one of the factors. I mean,
Indeed.
when you talk about the different gender groups, of course, that becomes an issue.
Indeed.
Because the youth, of course, will tell you we don't have land. But we have many people that have land, which is lying idle, which they don't, put to use.
And they don't give it to the young people because they feel like they are too young and cannot take on the big responsibility, such injustices.
Yeah, one of the reasons is the lack of information on what they should grow, because again, these are the questions that I keep answering every day when I get calls from, potential agribusiness actors, potential farmers. It's one of the reasons. But the other reason is if you like, working capital. And of course, the fear to start, because we've had this narrative that agriculture in general is risky. When you go to the bank to borrow, they will ask you many questions before they can give you the money. So it's one of the reasons, the capital to invest. But that can be, overcome. If you get started, I think the best thing to do is to get started. Start small and grow. Yeah.
Because I'm looking at this organic farming being one of the avenues through which we alleviate unemployment among our youth. 58.4% of our youth are engaged in agriculture, but few of them have access to any of that land. Women are actually producing most of the food that we eat in this country. So you could also say that 70% of the women in this country are also engaged in organic farming. So if we empower these groups with the land that they need, we could be the hub capital surpassing India. Wouldn't you agree?
And the truth is that not everybody might be in position to have access to land for various reasons. But one thing I want to
this is where we need
assure Ugandans is that the organic value chain has many opportunities at all levels of the value chain, because if you cannot have access to land, you can get involved in processing, you can get involved in logistics, and we've seen many young people getting involved at these levels of value chain, processing and logistics. But you can also get involved in exports, because if you have a group of farmers that are growing and you're working with them very closely, you can seek help from NOGAMU, from Uganda Export Promotion Board, and all the other agencies of the government that can help you get started. We've seen many, they didn't have land. There are many people that come here from outside, they don't have land, they don't even have capital. But they have information, they know where to sell. They have access to a buyer, they've been in touch with someone in Germany or the UK or the US who is interested in organic products. And they go ahead and, work with smallholder farmers here. They bulk or process, for that matter, and then they export.
Yeah. Are there any value addition mechanisms anticipated within the organic subsector, Chariton?
Yes, there are many.
Many. Break them down.
One, just by bulking, that's already value addition.
Nice.
For you to bulk from farmers and you put in, let's say, a store or warehouse, that's the first form of value addition. And selling it at a higher price, higher than, of course, it has to make business sense, higher than what you bought. So that's one step. The second step, which is obviously costly, is putting in place or investing in building a processing facility. And we've seen many entrepreneurs investing in fruit dryers, juice making machines, and many others, and there are many jobs around there, and we've seen many youth getting involved there, transport, packaging, logistics, and all these things. And then there is a lot of value addition when it comes to all these forms of certification, because once your product is certified, then it has more, acceptability in the market. So
it's more trusted.
Exactly. So we've seen people that do not have money to invest in building facilities, that have invested in organizing farmers, and sometimes they seek support from government to invest in the certification, and once they get certified organic, they get linked to the market, and they didn't have anything. They didn't have any working capital. All they did was to organize farmers. Sometimes they go to the bank and borrow, or they go to family friends, or they somehow manage to find the money to invest in the certification. And now that we have two major forms of certification, the second party certification and the third party certification, The participatory guarantee system, that second party certification, would be the first step towards the third party certification, which obviously is recognized in the international market. So for me, if there is a young man or woman out there,
Indeed.
if there is a potential investor, if you have a mindset for organic, the time is now.
The time is
Get
now.
to us, we will help you. We will be running organic farmers markets on a weekly basis, starting on the 12th of June.
Don't leave me behind.
Yeah,
I should be there as a guest
exactly,
speaker.
exactly, and
Indeed.
of course, NTV.
I love this conversation
Exactly.
in organics.
So
Go
we'll
ahead.
be you know, calling upon Ugandans,
Yeah.
and this is the time to do so.
12th June.
Fellow Ugandans, come to Cardinal Nsubuga, just behind the American Embassy, on the 12th of June, where we shall be exhibiting or showcasing the whole range of organic products that we have in this country. You might not know until you get to see. You might not appreciate until you get to talk to a farmer who engages in organic farming.
Charity Namuoza, here's why I'm loving this conversation on natural organics. I'm of the view, based on the literature I've been reading at least since 2019, during the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, late December, that this country has largely been cushioned from the effects of this COVID-19 pandemic based on the availability of natural organics in our country. The fact that people were able to self-medicate during these natural organic products, we were able to cushion ourselves from the harmful effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Would you agree?
Yes. And again,
That the situation is not so worse as it should be, like in India and the US, based on this availability of the natural organic products.
exactly. I mean, it's crystal clear. You can see, and again, I'll repeat what I said
Indeed.
earlier, that when you talk to people that have gone through this experience of COVID, they will tell you they depended mostly on these natural remedies, you know, hot water. Of course, coupled with social distancing and what have you. But when you're already there, the mask might not help so much. It will only help you
Indeed.
perhaps not to spread the disease. But,
All right.
so what you eat, you know, you are what you eat. You can only be strong, your immunity can only be strong
Yeah.
to the extent that your immunity is boosted by these natural remedies, these
Indeed.
natural and organic. The word is organic.
Organic
products.
boosters.
Yes.
And Charity Namuoza, paint for us an outlook of what the next 3 years will look like before I let you go. Yes.
The next 3 years will be very interesting because,
right.
as I already said, we see a lot happening in the organic sector. At the production level, we see many more farmers, including the elites, people like you and myself that, you know, have other jobs, you know, bankers, doctors. We see them gravitating towards.
I'm telling you, I'm heading to
organic
Hoima in July,
agriculture.
and organic farming.
It's-
That's what I'm looking at.
It's happening in all parts of the country, even
Indeed.
in Karamoja.
All
We
right.
see many, you know, people, farmers that are investing in organic farms. So in terms of production, there's going to be a clear, you know, trend in terms of increase in the production, you know. And then when it comes to exports, now that we have a policy and we're working towards developing the organic bill, we will obviously be seeing an increase in the exports of organic products out of Uganda.
All right. Thank you very much. Charity Namuoza, the CEO of Nogamo. That's the Natural Organic Agriculture Movement of Uganda. I'll have to say I'm proud of the work that you are doing. June 12th, I'll be there.
Thank you very much.
And of course, you should also mark that date, June 12th, and make your way there, and you'll be able to get more knowledge in organic farming. My name is Romeo Busiku, and this is Morning at NTV. We have a conversation with Stephen Mbide. He's going to be at the residence of the former Works Minister, that is General Edward Katumba Wamala, who survived an attempted assassination yesterday around